Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I am Asaph Adonai. Welcome to not Asaph Adonai Stories, but Asaph Cafe. I have two shows I get them mixed up.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
So welcome to another edition of Asaph Cafe. And immediately on my left, affectionately, our aging rocker Emmett. And we have placed ourselves in Emmett's favorite place.
A laundromat.
A laundromat. Yeah, we're doing a cafe in a laundromat.
I thought I just wanted something new, and we couldn't think of really better. So I said, hey, my favorite thing's a laundromat. You know, there's a relaxing place, and I've been in laundromats just hanging out.
We've never done a cafe in a laundromat, so this will be fun. And this is more like a fancy-looking laundromat.
It is.
Speaking of laundromats, when I do my stories at the apartment complex where I live, it's in the laundry room anyway, because that's where the Wi-Fi is.
Oh, fascinating.
I just thought I'd share that with you there.
Oh, you mean you actually film your stories from the laundromat?
No, I prepare them.
Oh, okay, fascinating.
Like when I'm in, because they have the internet signal there, and I just bring the computer. It's just right next door. It's literally, I just walk down the stairs, it's right there.
The sweet tea is not too bad.
What kind of tea is it?
The sweet tea with sugar. It's a little sugary.
So it's still good.
Yeah.
What's the name brand on that?
Gold Peak.
Oh, yeah, I've heard it. Yeah, I've had Gold Peak before. Well, you want to start us off?
Yeah, we're not advertising products to say, but we're just an Heavenly Father, bless our tea and our time together in Jesus' name.
Amen. And we're in a laundromat. Yep. So this, in all the years I've been doing Asaph Cafe, we have never done a laundromat.
Yeah. Well, thing is, if I could share my stories, my laundromat stories, thing is, when I've always loved laundry and washing machines. I told my first washing machine jokes in Lewiston, Idaho. And when I, came here suddenly from Lewiston, Idaho to Missoula, Montana in 1984, it was in the summertime and a really blue time for me, very depressing because I loved Lewiston and I loved my friends over there and I had to miss them. It was terrible. But I had to figure out something to do. I just lived near Wyoming and that kind of thing. And I would wander around. It still was the same time to basically go to a computer place or there is a laundromat. I think it's for sale. I don't know. It's a laundry facility. It's Sparkle Laundry. It's on 3rd Street. It was near the Good Food Store, and the Good Food Store used to be a completely different, grocery store. But often I would go in there just to, hang out. And I would always watch the washing machine spin and have my hands behind my back and just look at the washing machines spin and the dryers spin, and I would go over here. And let's see, how do I do this? Am I facing them? Yeah, just look at them, the washing machines, with my hands behind my back, just like this, and just look at these washing machines. Isn't this fascinating? Sometimes I would bring a science fiction book to read. I didn't even do laundry, just hung out, and they had hot chocolate. So I got to go to like a hot chocolate machine. If this was a hot chocolate machine, get some hot chocolate.
Yeah.
They had free hot chocolate, or maybe just, I think like for 25 cents or 50 cents.
Well, look on the bright side. It's not smelly like soap in our laundry room today. Like you go to most laundry rooms and you breathe in all the fumes of the soap. And no, this is just fun hanging out in the cafe here.
And exactly. And the nice thing is, I met a friend of mine just that very summer. He was just next door. We would hang out, and I would even take him to the laundromat. Just to hang out, he needed a place to, just a kid, he needed to hang out, we would drink the hot chocolate, and then we would go to the grocery store and get some free samples, and maybe, there was even a carpet store, we might even go to the carpet store. No, that was another friend of mine, because I was babysitting back then, and this other kid, and another kid that I would be babysitting in like 1985. I would sometimes take him to the laundromat, would take the same hot chocolate and take him to a fabric store, maybe get some free samples at the grocery store. Because remember back in the 80s, they used to have free samples. Sometimes they would have free sample day on every aisle of something, even meat or cake or donuts. It was like getting free lunch. Even my friend in 1984 said, let's go in the grocery store and get lunch. And it's fine, they didn't mind, and we would go to we get some 50 cents, whatever, over at, and get some hot chocolate and sit and watch the washing machines. I'd read a science fiction book and we'd watch the washing machine spin.
Well, some people are spoiled because, like, a lot of people have washing machines and stuff in their homes. But in the old day, back in the day, people would have to literally go. If you live like certain parts of San Francisco, for example, you walk down the stairs and you go down to the end of the block,
Yeah.
and there was always a laundromat at the end of a block, and there was just people shoved in there washing clothes on Saturdays and stuff.
Yeah, oh yeah. And thing is, back by hand, before the Industrial Revolution, you had to do it in a wash tub by hand and rinse it
Yeah,
by
I
hand.
remember. Well, not those days personally, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Exactly, and you had to put on a clothesline. We don't have to do that with the wash and dryer anymore. And I love the washing machine. They spin and they're friendly, and then but it's a lot of fun to be in a laundromat. And thing is, I had my laundry set down at my home got broken for a few weeks, so I chose actually the one down on 3rd. I'm not even gonna say its name, but they've been owners. They're really nice. I think it's for sale. I hope it's not closing. I just see. But they remember me. I said, "Do you remember me from 1984?" Yeah, they did. And I said, I took my glasses off. I said, "Oh, we remember you. Yeah, definitely. You always used to come in and watch the washing machine with a hand behind your back." So that's it. Yep.
I see.
They don't allow people just to hang out though, sadly, anymore. You have to do laundry. Sadly, you have to do laundry now if you're going to be admitted. You can't just hang out and have some hot chocolate, because they were having some problems and issues with kids causing trouble and ruckus, so.
Yeah.
That's kind of disappointing, because if you're a kid and if there's nothing else to do, and I'm not the type to drink underage or get into trouble.
But some people, end up ruining things for everybody else.
They do, yeah.
When they get into crazy stuff like that, so.
Yeah, they had to put the kibosh on that, sadly, but I didn't do anything, just drink my hot chocolate and read my science fiction books. It's perfect,
Yeah, so you're doing all right otherwise, right?
What?
You're doing all right otherwise?
Yeah, I am. And of
Song
course,
for ya.
oh, that's what I was gonna say. We can pretend the sweet tea is like something from Star Trek. I think they had some alien teas from Star Trek. Because do you remember the Star Trek: The Next Generation one where Worf met the renegade Klingons? It was called Heart of Glory.
I don't know that episode.
He met renegade Klingons who wanted to take the Klingon Empire back to the days of conquest and conquering the Federation.
Okay.
And basically, they said, they were real Klingons. Said, "This peace, this alliance with the Federation makes my Klingon heart wither and die. We must get back to war." And it was a big fight, but they ordered from, the food replicators? Something like, something like Ogron tea with pivots. Well, it's kind of like what we'd call short ribs, Klingon type short ribs. But they also had tea. I think it had alcohol in it, of course. Klingon had tons of alcohol.
They don't say that, but it implies that.
Exactly.
Obviously. Klingons aren't going to be drinking tea like you and I are drinking. They're going to be drinking that hard.
But even though we don't have pivots, we can pretend it's Klingon tea.
This is so fun. I would have never thought to do a cafe and a laundromat if you hadn't thought of that. That was good thinking.
Yeah.
Brilliant thinking.
I guess I got a lot of sleep last night. I got 11 and a half hours.
Well, that's probably why you came up with some good ideas there.
You need
the candelabra is showing up pretty cool and all that. That's pretty cool,
Yeah.
That's way cool.
As a matter of fact, I love toddler tunes, like on channel 926. The music choice channels on Spectrum, Charter, Charter Communications, Spectrum TV.
Yeah.
Cable. You have music choice channels. You can take the remote control and flip it, and they have a song. I can't remember who wrote it. No, I think it was Farmer Jason, not former Jason. Farmer Jason. He writes toddler songs for kids about the forest, about the farm. Farmer Jason, I think it was, wrote a song about going to the forest.
Okay.
And he said, your waffles are so cold, and the dog has gone berserk. Your babysitter asked you, what should we do today? Here's a little thing I'm going to say. The laundromat, the forest, oh, just the place to go. And it is fascinating. Exercise your muscles and exercise your mind. Strengthen up your muscles and exercise your mind. You might see a gnarly 100-year-old tree. You might see a grace of deer, bouncing gracefully. In the forest, it's really wonderful. In the forest, exercise your muscles and exercise your mind. The forest, I'd change all the words. I say the first person, the long waffles are cold. Your cold and the dog has gone berserk. Your babysitter asks you, what should we do today? Here's the thing today. The laundromat, oh, just the place to go. It's a very fascinating theorem. The laundromat, oh, just the place to go. It's a very fascinating theorem. You can spin inside a washing machine. You can talk to all the spinning dryers. It's a very fascinating theorem. You can drink all the coffee and read the science fiction. The laundromat, oh, just the place to go. Spin inside the washer and spin inside the dryer. The laundromat, oh, just the place to go. It's a very fascinating theorem. Isn't that fascinating? The laundromat, oh. Imagine if your babysitter has a child. What should we do today? Let's go to the laundromat and hang out there.
Well, that's what you and I are doing, fulfilling one of your fantasies. We're hanging at the laundromat here today. Yeah. That's a beautiful backdrop if you think about it.
It is.
If you really think about
it. It's a nice looking laundromat,
Yeah.
And I love doing laundry. The thing is, it's such a time saver. And I love dishwashers and vacuum cleaners and other appliances. I'm just an appliance fan. They've revolutionized our lives so much. You can get house clean so much easier with appliances. And they whir and they spin and have different cycles. This is a lot of fun.
I'm playing a tune for it.
Yep. Even a friend of mine is just taking me to laundromats if he needs to do laundry, just so I can hang out and watch the washing machine spin. Sometimes I've been able to do it, sometimes I haven't, but it's kind of nice, Hi, washing machines, how are you? What's that? Oh, I know, that's a very fascinating tip. Yes, I love to read science fiction. We're having tea from Star Trek. What's that? Oh, I know. Well, isn't it fascinating? Here's Asaph. Isn't he very fascinating? What's that? Oh, I know. Oh, that's very fascinating. I talk to washing machines like that.
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
And dryers. Isn't that fascinating? Oh, you have spin cycles, oh yes you do. You're a washing machine learning algebra, la 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 la. And push the buttons, push it. Oh, I found them. You can push its buttons. The washing machines and dryers like it when you push its buttons.
Yeah.
Isn't that fascinating? Well, I've got to read more science fiction. Look at the cover with lasers. What's that? Oh, I know. I talk to washers like that. Isn't that fascinating?
I'm gonna play something. Tell me if you know this. Have you been listening to the new Christian music lately?
No, I haven't really. Yeah.
Really haven't? You're not familiar with it?
No, I'm familiar with new Christian music, but
I'm not talking about the hymns.
Yeah, I've listened to the 80s and 90s, but not really. I'm not really a huge fan of modern Christian music, and I've heard tons of it on the radio.
Here's one song that if you just play it without the words, it has some beautiful chords. It's a song called "Give Me Your Eyes" by Brandon Heath. I'll do a little bit of it here and give you an idea. Listen to these chords.
Yep. I think you played that for me once.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yep.
Pretty beautiful chord.
It is.
And here's... Isn't that beautiful? Beautiful chords. I'm sorry, I missed a note. Beautiful.
Yeah.
I guess where I'm going with this story is there are a lot of young artists out there in the Christian scene today that are doing beautiful music. It may not be necessarily like the old hymns.
Yeah.
In fact, if you listen to the music, it sounds almost like modern music, but it just has those positive Christian
and that's why
words,
I guess I haven't liked it because it sounds too much like modern music, like from the 80s and 90s.
But and I think there's a good side to that too.
Well, that is true.
Well, I find the lyrics encouraging, but I think you can reach a younger audience.
I think you can.
More people.
If they like Z100, they'll like this style.
Well, some of these artists are like winning Grammy Awards. We're talking about the normal Grammy Awards, like when you watch the music awards. Lauren Daigle, That young lady, I saw her on Good Morning America. And she was singing all this stuff about God. And I just thought it was cool. I mean, they had, the ABC News team in the background listening to this young woman. And she was just singing about Christ. And
Wonderful.
I just thought, this is cool because, a lot of those news shows have those concert series,
Yeah.
And so if you're a young person singing about Jesus in the concert series, you've got the people in the audience watching that, on Good Morning America, and it's pretty cool. But I know I'm an old geezer by those standards, but like some of these people, there's a lot of them. Toby Mac, he's way cool. I don't know if you know him.
No.
He sort of sounds like a rapper, but it's Christian stuff, and his music is way cool. So let's see if I can just think of a bunch of these performers. Let's see if you would know any of them. Let's see, Casting Crowns.
No, I've heard of it. I think I even saw a poster for it. They came to Missoula once, but
yeah, I think they're coming back to Montana. I heard.
Yeah.
Casting Crowns.
I've heard of them. Yeah, some poster for them. I think at the Christian bookstores.
How about Mandisa? Are you
Nope, no.
African American singer.
Nope.
She was on American Idol with.
I never watched American Idol.
Yeah, she wound up doing very well. Now she's like soaring. And she's from Sacramento.
Interesting.
That's where I'm from, Sacramento. And let's see. Let me see if I can think of some others. Francesca Battistelli.
Nope.
She's another. She's got a song called "If We're Honest." It goes something like this. Something like this. Something like this. You haven't heard it?
No.
Well, anyway, it's a beautiful song called "If We're Honest," talking about if you're honest with yourself and that sort of thing. But see, where I'm going with that is that this Christian stuff, as far as the lyrically, it's very encouraging. Very, I find it very. I don't know how to explain it. You see, the old hymns, they just had a different message because it talked more about Jesus and dying on the cross and stuff. But these songs here they still talk about Jesus and all, but it's more positive. And I'm not saying that that's more positive than the cross. I'm just saying that by today's standards that we live in today, that it's just encouraging. And I keep the radio on, 24 hours a day. Like that time when you came over, I have it really low. And it's just cool. Or sometimes I'll listen to the Bible at night.
Oh, yeah, wonderful.
It's just really comforting,
Oh, definitely. I guess I'm just not into the new, pop music. The only reason I listen to 80s music is just because it was a happier time, so better memories.
Well, yeah, and I understand that. And they probably didn't have all that Christian stuff back then like they do today.
They actually did have, because I was listening to some KMBI gospel music, and I was just seeing what this new genre was, because I'd never heard of it, and I couldn't get into it, but they had a ton of modern type Christian artists like that, in the 80s.
Artists,
Can't even remember their names,
Well, I just scratched it on the surface. There's so many artists out there.
Yeah.
There's Jeremy Camp. He's pretty cool too, and his wife, A.D. Camp. She sings some pretty positive stuff. Some of those songs, though, like Michael W. Smith, he's got a song called "Come to the Cross." That's a pretty cool song too. Mourners, wherever you are, there's room at the cross. Isn't that a beautiful line?
It is.
And you know what I like about the YNOP radio station is they've got this thing going on now where, how can I put it? When they're ministering to people through this new music, you might be having a tough day like what I was having the other day, and you might hear just a song that will minister to you lyrically. Like, let's say the Come to the Cross song, like, you might be having a bad day where you need to pray, and all of a sudden you hear this song on the radio, Come to the Cross, and you can just kneel in front of the radio symbolically, coming to the cross of Christ, and it just makes you
wonderful.
Makes you feel better. I've heard a lot of testimony stories over that Christian radio station about people at having to hear a certain song at the right moment for what they needed. So that's the Holy
Spirit. That's the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, I know, and I just think that that's pretty cool, And I like the teaching too.
Yeah.
I may not always agree with everything that
yeah.
with preachers and teachers, but as a whole, I think it's just refreshing. And I don't know how I got off course here, but I just wanted to
and I love
talk
you did
about
EWTN for that reason. I think ever since it started kind of founding,
that's the Catholic channel, isn't it?
And I think it's kind of lost some of its edge since the times when it
Well, you
first
got to remember
began.
with all the different channels coming out and the newer, younger people in the Christendom, including preachers, it just starts changing.
It does.
I don't mean message-wise, just the concept,
Like, it's always the same. They always have the rosary and the daily mass, and that's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad they have it, but it's always like the same prayers, the same format, and nothing really changes every single day of every single hour.
I'm familiar with the Catholic channel. I've seen...
And I like it. I like some of the teachings. I really loved Mother Angelica's teaching.
Is she still alive, or is
No, she passed away a few years ago on Easter Sunday.
Is that lady that wears the black outfit?
Yeah, actually, it was a white outfit,
or a middle-aged lady, older lady.
Yes,
I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, Mother Angelica.
I don't know her name, but I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, and she would come on and just read from the Bible, and she's very old-fashioned nun, but loved Jesus, loved Mary. Just couldn't answer any theological question. Pray for you. That was wonderful.
For some people, excuse me.
That just was wonderful. Yeah, she was a very devout.
Well, some people like the traditional, older, just more.
And I do myself.
Yeah, and that works for most people, but for the younger people, that won't work, I don't think. So that's why I think it's good to have these younger artists, because they're spreading the gospel. They're going around the world. Some of these young artists, they're helping with missions work. It's really amazing what they do. I just want to throw that at you.
Yeah. I wished I could have recorded. I didn't have a tape recorder. For some reason, for about a few days, we got EWTN on cable. This was like 1993 or 92. And just for a few days, just to test to see if people liked it. And I was thrilled with the channel. And oh, man, I wished I had a tape recording of this. I could probably get on the internet.
This piano's not working very well, so I'm probably not going to do much playing. I don't know if you noticed it. It's listen to this. It just doesn't seem to be working very well.
Seems to it plays for me. Hey, it plays for me. It sounds good to me.
I can tell sound-wise and so on.
You should see then the piano down by the bus station.
I know. I've played on that.
I mean they've wrecked the chords. All of the keys now in minor key. They're all out of tune. I was trying to play a tune with it, and it's out of tune. Someone's got to get it.
I was on it the other day, just for fun.
Yeah, same here. Just Mother Angelica. Thing is, one problem we have in the Catholic Church is a lot of modernism. Like new priests, teaching left-wing liberal ideas.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of problem with that. Well, at the World Youth Day over at the Vatican, they had a procession for the cross, of Stations of the Cross, and unfortunately, to get more sympathy for the youth, or the youth to get more involved, they had a woman playing the part of Jesus Christ, like Jesus was a woman.
I didn't hear about it. Was this a play?
Yes, it wasn't even a play. It was more like Stations of the Cross or a passion play where they portrayed Jesus as a woman, as a feminist.
Are you sure it wasn't just Mary Magdalene or something?
No, it was Jesus.
I've not heard that.
That was years ago, like 1992 or 93.
Okay, I guess I'm not familiar.
They had that one time at that one World Youth Day. World Youth Day is a kind of a convergence of the world youth who could come to Rome or whatever, or just and experience the Catholic faith. Mother Angelica, in classic nun style, chewed out those people. And I wish I had a recording. She did. Oh, she was on fire for the Lord and fire for tradition. She was mad. She called them out for being in sin, going to hell, and saying, "How dare you betray or portray Jesus as a woman? If you want to go to hell, fine." She was on fire for tradition.
I guess that would seem kind of creepy, portraying Christ as a lady.
Yeah, that was for the feminist,
I know, but
it's so liberal.
You can't take truths from the Bible and to fit political correctness.
And that's what they were trying to do, and that's horrible. And she sounded off. She said, "You people, modernists in the Catholic Church, leave us alone, because we're tired.
Yeah.
We're sick at heart. We're tired of your witchcrafts and your centering prayers. Take your witchcrafts and go." Especially the people, the young who don't know, and the old elderly that have forgotten their catechism. I have every right to pray the Latin Mass and worship Jesus and the Passion of God.
Is that what she did on television?
She chewed them out for half an hour. For half an hour, 15 minutes, and just...
What year was that? Do you remember?
About 1992 or 93 or so. It was very good.
Okay.
And
you said she's gone now.
Yeah, she passed away. She said, "I have a right to kneel before my Lord. I have every right. You know, if you want to go, start your own church. Leave us alone." And she was looking at the newspaper article and said, "Yeah, you did it right. You did it right." And she basically said, "If you want to go to hell, fine." She said, "In spite of what I've said, I still love you. And I'm sorry it has to be this way, but it has to be. Good day." And it's just like, she just spoke for so many of us who have been heartbroken by modernism and political correctness in the church. As a matter of fact, I wonder if that's not on the internet, if you couldn't Google, Mother Angelica sounds off against World Youth Day. I'm sure that's there somewhere.
What's the name of the event? World Youth Day.
Yes, and you'll get it straight talk from Mother Angelica. Something, and it was so refreshing. I wanted, if I had a tape recorder and a blank tape, I already recorded that thing. I mean, it just spoke for a lot of us, traditional Catholics who just want the glory of the Mass and the Catholic Church back with all of this, none of this political correct feminist stuff,
Yeah.
We and, centering prayers. I'm against centering prayers and that kind of modern praying. I pray the rosary, pray, "Lord Jesus, help me," not with you, but centering prayers, I think that's bad. It's New Age.
Oh, I hadn't thought of it that way.
Well, New Age is centering.
I know what New Age is, but I mean, I hadn't thought of it.
New Age practices and beliefs have crept into the Catholic Church. Like centering prayers is where you center yourself like this and breathe in Jesus and breathe out Jesus.
Yeah, that doesn't sound very gospel.
It is not at all.
Yeah,
and she condemns centering prayers like that.
Yeah,
that's not Christian.
I
go as far away from that kind of stuff as I can.
I think I would have to agree with you on that.
That is just no good.
The Catholic teachings.
Yeah, and it's not even in the Catholic teachings. But a lot of modernist nuns and liberal priests are, "Oh wow, the youth will enjoy centering prayers." Yeah. No, that is too close to New Age for my comfort. I don't think God is pleased.
Yeah,
He would not be pleased. Let's do what pleases God so we can get to heaven. I don't want Jesus unhappy with me. Do you? No. We're doing this for the glory of God, not to make politically correct for the youth. Now, there's nothing wrong with modern Christian hymns. I think their lyrics, like you said, and their messages are wonderful.
I think
biblical.
They are wonderful. No, yeah,
they're biblical.
That's totally different. Yeah, but there's just so many. There's so many of these young artists out there, and I'm really amazed how they're breaking through into the secular. Not radio, but I'm talking about television.
Yes.
The comedians.
Oh yeah.
They're getting on the Tonight Show. I mean, these Christian comedians.
I've heard of Christian comedy. I've seen it on cable access.
Darren Streblo has a radio show, a national radio show. It's called the Darren Streblo Show, and all the Christians on there. And I've seen some of them on television. They don't do any off-color jokes or any of those. It's all clean comedy. None of this political attacking people. Comedy. It's just funny. They'll talk about growing up, like sibling rivalry or something, or husband and wives having their moments. Just fun, clean stuff. And these comics are going all over the country. Some of them have been on the Tonight Show. Some have, they're really breaking through. And then they got another. It's called the Bananas or something like that. Bananas Comedy or something. It's on one of those Christian TV stations where they just have comedy almost all day long. Just clean stuff.
Well, that's good.
No, seriously, clean.
That's good.
I mean, no innuendos, nothing.
Wonderful.
And it's refreshing to hear that kind of comedy. And there was this one guy, he was demonstrating the national anthem, what it would be like if somebody like Bob Marley sang the national anthem or Bob Dylan, and he started changing his voice to these performers doing the national anthem, and it was just so funny. Like when he did the Bob Marley. I don't know if you know Bob Marley. He did reggae.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, man. Let's see. Oh, say, can you see, man, by the dawn's early light, man? And it was so funny the way he was doing it. And then when he did Bob Dylan, it's like, oh, I see, say, can you see by the dawn's early light? He was changing his voice. It was just funny because I'm not picking on these guys. That's just the way they sang in their heyday. So they have this comedian change his voice like these popular singers from the past. Doing the national anthem.
I guess it just sounds a little dry for me, dry humor,
But it was clean. My point is, it's all fun. Mm-hmm. They talk about family. They talk about traveling. They talk about sports.
Yeah.
It just
stuff I can't relate to really. Well, I can relate to washers and dryers, but I can't really relate. And that's the cleanest humor you can get. But it's surreal.
It's just so refreshing to see these young Christian folks.
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
Secular world and doing some really positive stuff.
Yeah.
And that's good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why comedians think they have to use coarse humor.
Well, that's true. I don't know either. It's not even funny. It's just
No, because you can't take your grandchildren and watch a comic if he's using language that's not appropriate.
I agree.
Or talking. And I'm not here to cast stones or judge comedians that do that. I mean, if they want to go that way, I guess that's on them. But I don't think it's necessary.
No, it's not.
Myself, I don't think that's necessary. So, but I'm not a comic, so no one's going to listen to me. But
even Richard Pryor, I'm not picking on Richard Pryor because I loved his performance in The Toy. That was a movie from 1982. Yeah. That was a sweet one. But if you see a stand-up comedy, at least in the early days, oh boy,
Yeah, well,
and some of the others, that have been in family movies, when they get on stand-up comedy for adults, like, oh boy,
Well, you'd be surprised how many people that do clean shows when they do their stand-up comedy. It's like, am I watching the same person?
I know.
I've seen that, and so. Again, I'm not here to cast stones because, Richard Pryor has done some very funny.
Oh, he has, absolutely.
Stuff when he was on the Ed Sullivan Show, and stuff like that. But as time goes by, a lot of these comics, they some of them just go that way.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah, it's not
because there's people that like these comics, like myself, and you want to see fun, clean stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm talking about the name brand comics, your Joan Rivers, your whatever. But I'm not here to cast stones if they go that way. That's that's
exactly.
Their thing, But I've seen Joan Rivers on Ed Sullivan, and I thought she was really, really funny.
Mm-hmm.
But she, along with some of the others, go that route.
Mm-hmm.
I like the ones that don't go that route.
Oh,
Sandra Pierce is, she's called the clean lady of comedy, Christian woman. And she'll have you busted out in stitches, laughing hard when you watch this lady after about an hour. I have one of her concert films at home.
Interesting.
And I just laughed all through that. And then there's Dennis Swanberg, the guy that changes his voice. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He does Billy Graham really well. And it's funny because he was telling a story about he was in a supermarket one day, and it was this long line, so he changed his voice into Billy Graham, and everybody turned around thinking they were listening to Billy Graham. But it's just fun.
Yeah, very dry. Sounds there's one comedian, I don't even know if he's alive anymore. I think he probably retired of old age by now. He was in between clean comedy and dirty comedy, but I liked it work. Gallagher.
Oh, yeah, I'm familiar with him. The guy the Vegematic guy?
Yeah, Sledge-O-Matic. Hilarious. He was on Showtime in the early 80s all the time, and I would laugh and laugh. Yeah. And he had a unique perspective on life. He had some off-color jokes, but not too much. It just, he got married, he had kids, and he would talk about stuff like that. And he would make jokes about himself and other things about his times in school, which I could completely relate because he hated school and hated the teachers. Yeah. And he hated English. And he hated all the stupid stuff you had to do in school. And, how can you get in trouble and go to the principal for being too smart, Oh, I'm going to the principal. I'm okay now. And he would do this right. in school and say,
Uh-huh.
we have a right. I thought there was a shared education. I thought I was part of the educational program myself, especially when you want us to be intelligent and now you're for being a smart aleck.
Uh-huh.
And why in the heck do we have spelling bees that are only won by pigtailed girls? You know, if there's a one, O-N-E, this is a Y, and Y. Why isn't there a Y and one? There's an E you don't need. I don't have time for this foolishness. I mean,
I liked him when he would smash the...
that was hilarious with the sledge-o-matic. I about died laughing when I first saw that. And you have to have like tarps and blankets, you know, just...
Well, especially in Vegas. Yeah, I've been in Vegas. I've never actually been to his concert, but I know of it that people in the first few rows really had to cover themselves because the fruit would spray everywhere.
Yes. Can you believe it? It's this easy. If you want wine, you have wine. You want a pina colada, be a pina colada. Can it be this easy? And I about died laughing.
Well, he's probably retired now because you don't hear about him much anymore. Louis Anderson's another comedian you don't hear about much anymore. Heavyset guy, but really, really funny comic.
Yeah, I'm sure Gallagher's on YouTube somewhere. You could Google him up.
I would imagine so.
But he was so funny and just had a unique perspective on life. It's just like, you know. I remember what he was saying one time about pain relievers. He was doing about pain relievers, you know, and he said, do you want, I can't believe these pain reliever commercials. Do you want a pain reliever that works? Picky people, aren't you? Picky little people, ain't you? Well, you got all these milligrams, 500 milligrams. I don't know. Why don't you just take 2 of them and get 1,000? You see, I'm thinking, I'm doing. And he was like, yeah, a pain reliever that works. And because on commercials they say, do you want a pain reliever that works? Of course you want a pain reliever that works. You want to take one that doesn't? That was the idea.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just hilarious, you know. I mean,
I know what's wrong with this piano now. That pedal's not working. No.
Now, some of the commercial stuff I can't do here on air because it's off color, but I thought this is funny. Like, oh, this is just, oh boy, the way he was doing it, like, this is so funny.
You talking about Gallagher's comedy?
Yeah, Gallagher's comedy. And even though it was off humor, it wasn't so raw that I had to turn it off, you know.
Yeah, I understand.
I think he was a Christian at some level in his life because he said he liked God and he didn't like communists because they don't believe in God, so let's not worry about them, you know.
Well, you know, some of these people, they may be Christians and they just they live it more privately.
I think that was kind of Gallagher, yeah.
You know, one persona, but in their private lives, they their faith in Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Alice Cooper is a great example.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know him.
I do.
Welcome to my nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
No, but I've seen him in interviews, and he always talks about Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Every interview I've ever seen, Alice Cooper, and he talks about Christ, his faith in Christ. So, you know, some people are more vocal about it, I suppose. I'm talking about famous people.
Yes.
And some probably just live it more privately. But I guess that's fine, you know.
Yeah.
He's the last person I would have ever thought was a follower of Christ.
I know.
Alice Cooper. And I'm not trying to pick on him, because he's a fine singer, but he just does things different.
Yeah, he does. Kind of like me. I just do things different.
Well, and that's fine, but he does have a strong faith. And so.
Ted Nugent, I don't know if he's a strong Christian, but he's a strong conservative, you know?
Yeah.
He's the one that does something about cutting your head off. He had something
Well, that's just an act.
It is, exactly.
It's just an act. It's no different than, well, I don't know, some performer from the 50s or 60s maybe. They were known for doing silly things or crazy things or whatever.
Exactly. And a lot of fundamentalists get all bunged up, really upset about Ted Nugent and the rock music videos. Like, oh, you know, that's not honoring Christ. So that, you know, the Alice Cooper thing. You can't be a born-again Christian.
Well, you know, I look at it like this. I've learned in life that if some conservative is uncomfortable, that's his conviction.
Exactly.
So I'm not going to try to change his view.
Right.
It's like that Bible verse, what is it? If something for you is wrong, then for you it's wrong.
Exactly.
So, you know, but now I'm not going to pounce on rock music. I mean, to me, it's just a stage act like any other art form. And because you'd be surprised at the people in the performing arts and so on that really talk about Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And what's her name? I think her name is. I can't think of her name. She's this famous soap opera star. And if you saw her, you would recognize her, but she always talks about Jesus, and she takes the gospel into the soap opera world. Since she does that for a living, she can reach those people that you and I would probably never be able to reach in the world of soap operas. And I know soap operas can get a little sometimes.
Anymore they can, and they're depressing to me.
It's just an art form as far as I'm concerned. It's not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
But, they've been around for a lot of years, like 50 years or more, these soap operas. And I admit, I peek at them every once in a while. I'll look at The Young and the Restless and just for a few minutes and see what's going on. It's the same old thing. There's always somebody scheming something.
I know. Someone in a hospital battling cancer.
Somebody got shot or what. It's the same
Someone going to court and some child dying of cancer and in the middle of a divorce. It is like
same old thing.
Depressing.
All those soap operas, I know. But it seems to have a following,
Yeah.
I looked up the early soap operas of the past, like the 50s. Like The Edge of Night. Do you know that their storylines were totally different then?
Oh, yeah.
They all wore suits and ties back then, and the ladies wore dresses. But they were still scheming, and maybe not to the degree of today, because we have the technology and so on. But I don't know why I'm talking about soap operas, but my point is, if it works for you and you want to have fun, you want to feed on that, go for it.
Yeah.
It's not for me, but
but
I do peek every once in a while. It's funny watching. It's the same old thing. Usually there's always somebody in the hospital with tubes up their nose. And
I know, it's so depressing.
And these soap operas, So, but everybody has a favorite soap, I guess. Liberace, he had a favorite soap opera too. In his time. I think his was The Guiding Light or some show like that. I don't know. They're all the same. But some of those soap operas have been on television for like 40 years now, like The Young and the Restless. And the lead actor, Eric Braeden, the guy that plays Victor Newman, I don't think you would know him. He's from Montana. I think he's from, no, not Missoula, but somewhere near here I think he's from. But the guy's an actor, that's all.
Yeah.
He's done a lot of movies before he got into soap operas.
Yeah.
He was in Planet of the Apes, with Charlton Heston.
Yeah. I think if I couldn't get any work, I'd play in a soap opera if I really needed money, but otherwise,
Well, they say being a soap star is probably the hardest because they have to memorize the script almost on the spot. I've heard. And I can understand that to keep the secrecy of what's going to happen. Like, like with the sitcoms, they have like time to prepare. But with soap operas, you got to read it and they give you like an hour to read it or something like that, and then you got to go on camera. That takes a degree of technique and difficulty. You have to have a really good memory to be able to do that. And I don't think everybody can do that.
Yeah.
As far as in the world of acting, I've heard it said soap opera acting is the most difficult. But if you've been on a show for like say 10 or 20 years, you have a familiarity with the characters, I suppose, to make it easier to memorize lines. But anyway, I'll never be a soap star. I have no interest in that. But,
no, nor do I.
But if I were going to be an actor, I'd like to be in a comedy.
Yeah.
If it were me personally, I'd like to.
I'd like to be on Star Trek, or I'd like to be on science fiction or something. That's what I'd do.
If I were an actor, but I'm not an actor, so I don't have to worry about it. But it's amazing how difficult those jobs really are. Because they're reading pages and pages and pages of stuff, and they have to memorize that. And I'm sure they probably take license, improvise a little bit.
Oh, yeah, they'd have to, yeah.
But at least they get the idea, Yeah, have you ever done any acting at all? Have you done any plays or acting? Or?
Only a couple of times, like in my youth.
Yeah.
I think I was at a thing called Children's College, Kids College. This was when I first moved to Lewiston in 1981, because they always put me in summer camp, so they wanted to put me at least somewhere for a couple of days. And we took some acting and did a few plays and that kind of thing. Nothing really formidable.
Oh, no, I know. I just, school plays, that's one. But I just meant, professional acting.
Not professional acting. Well, actually, I was in a movie here where I was playing my character, the Celestial Warrior, that I made up from high school.
Mm-hmm.
I was in that movie that Christian Ackerman made, Virtual 3000. That I was in,
experience.
science fiction.
That's experience too.
Yes.
You know? It's just like, and you put all that in your resume, you know. I've done a lot of shorts. Shorts are like these documentary stories. In fact, I just did a movie about 2 weeks ago that should be out in September, October of this year. It was
the majority of my character got cut. You know, because Christian Ackerman's film.
By the time they edit everything.
Thing is, have you ever heard how I came up with the character, the Celestial Warrior, my own kind of alter ego? Not really alter ego.
So. I don't recall you.
It's not really an alter ego, but thing is, I was in special ed classes. This was in my junior year.
Okay.
In 1985, I was going to graduate my senior year.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and we were living over anyway, we went to John Root's Park. A park. Well, all I can say is, oh man, was I ever bored. Hold on a minute, if I can find something.
Okay.
And I guess I can't. I was hoping they would have a stick here just so I could, let's just see what I was talking about. I'll have to use...
These pedals are not working, so I think I'm going to have to let Scott know.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe this is
it's these pedals. Okay,
well,
but go ahead.
Anyway, I was so bored. It was kind of a park, just, for just nothing really to do. So I decided, to pick up a stick that looked like a laser gun.
Okay.
And I really don't have a short sword, but a stick that would look like a sword, a laser sword.
Okay.
And I was going riding around because it was had a lot of wilderness area with it. And I would sit on various rocks and pretend they were spaceships and go and I was a laser sword. And basically, I thought, is this a lightsaber or not? No more like a plasma sword, kind of like this. And I wanted a name for myself. How about Star Warrior? Oh, sounds like Star Wars.
Yeah,
Space Warrior? Yeah.
Okay.
Galactic Warrior, Universe? Nah. How Celestial Warrior means space, not just heaven.
Oh, I get it, yeah.
So I called myself the Celestial Warrior. And just started
and that was your alter ego in school?
Not an alter ego, but just a character I came up with. Because I came out with it out of sheer boredom. I was gonna go mad over there if I didn't have something to do and creative.
You remember what grade you were in approximately?
That was I was in 11th grade.
Okay, wasn't it? I told you I had a phaser gun from Star Trek when I was in.
Yeah, and it was just sticks.
I used to wear it on the side and thought I ruled the school.
Yeah, thing is, they were just sticks on the ground because sometimes driftwood looks like laser guns and galactic swords.
Yeah.
If you can use your imagination, and so I've just written a few stories about that. Someone still played that, and Christian Ackerman, who used to be a staff member, he wanted me as an extra in his movie, a space war movie, and I said, could I play this thing I came up with in high school, the Celestial Warrior? And he said that'd be cool. So we got a kind of plasma sword and a laser gun, and I was able to do that, fight off robots, and go into this control, and it was like a spacecraft that they loaned me because my other craft had been destroyed. I had the Celestial Warrior battlecraft, the Celestial Warrior battle cruiser. Unfortunately, only 2 of my stories have survived. The first one and the third. The second one, Battle in the 7th Dimension just kind of got lost somewhere. But I've tried to sell my stories to other places, and no one would take them. No one was interested in Hollywood at all. I've read my stories on my show.
That's not uncommon. I mean, Hollywood just has a way of rejecting everything that comes their way.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible to break through in Hollywood.
It is, in other places,
And not just Hollywood. I mean, the world of
literature, really.
Music, literature, any of those things. They always rejected people. Janine Turner, I don't know if you know her. She is an actress on Northern Exposure. I heard her testimony on the Christian radio and on I Am Second. That's another Christian kind of a mini documentary thing, and she was talking about how she went through hundreds of rejections, just hundreds of, you like what you're talking about. You come up with an idea, and people are always saying they're not interested, even if it's really good. But she just was persistent.
Good.
And she landed at Northern Exposure. That show lasted for 6 seasons, and changed her life.
Yeah. Well, this is a true story because I've, read George Lucas's interviews.
Mm-hmm.
He was rejected by everyone in Hollywood, more than 100
I had heard that, yeah.
And he had to make the movie on his own and with his own money. And the reason they rejected him is because they said, this science fiction story about Star Wars and Space Wars, it's too weird. The audience won't like it. It's too weird and fanciful and science fiction.
Did you hear what happened on the world news when they discovered that... when the movie executives discovered they had missed the opportunity for Star Wars, all those people that were supposed to be in control that were supposed to know what was good and bad, they all got fired. That was on the world news.
I didn't hear that.
That was on the world news because they should have had the foresight to know that Star Wars was going to be a hit.
Yeah.
But people are always saying, no. I mean, even with my autobiography, you know how many people that tell me no?
Amazing.
I went through 300 publishers at least, and of the 300, only about probably 10 or less contacted me.
Wow.
And they were just tearing me to shreds. And what happens? My book winds up getting a 5-star rating on Amazon.
Wow.
My autobiography. So
people miss the obvious when something's good.
But when they miss Star Wars, though, heads rolled.
That's good. And the interesting thing is, all the Hollywood execs and some other independent producers and TV land realized, well, maybe people like this outer space stuff. Let's make some Star Wars copies. They did Buck Rogers, Battlestar Galactica.
Mm-hmm.
Then they did Battle Beyond the Stars, Message from Space. And that kind of thing.
Battlestar Galactica.
Yes, Battle Beyond the Stars, not Lost in Space, but not Message from Space, but Space Raiders, and a lot of independent people, and cartoons like Battle of the Planets, and a lot more science fiction stuff. It seemed every week it was another new movie. Star Crash, another independent movie we wanted to make. It wasn't Lost in Spaces, that was 60s. I'm talking about the newer stuff that came out in 1989. That's Lost in Space.
Yeah.
But in Message from Space was a different movie. Star Crash, that kind of thing. Every single producer wanted something like Star Wars on TV or in the movies. It was like science fiction came on and became almost socially acceptable. Because back before then, there was no science fiction except for Lost in Space and Star Trek. Maybe a few books. But then it was like there was almost before Star Wars, then after Star Wars. Before Star Wars, there was really nothing. After Star Wars, this is a science fiction explosion.
Yeah, but a lot of people lost their jobs when they missed that opportunity.
They should have. They deserved it, yeah.
Well, yeah, because like I was saying, Hollywood has a way of just always saying no.
Exactly.
They don't even examine us. They just, no, we're not interested.
Yeah.
So, but I just found that amusing. And Star Wars made like what, 300 million something?
Yeah, it was the back then. It was the top blockbuster of all time, beating out
and it
Jaws.
Had a very small budget too when they made the original, but
because George Lucas had to make it on his own,
Yeah, but and I think he did it for like maybe 100,000, 200,000, something like that, and it wanted to make it 300 million. So yeah, those people lost their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about those people that
they rejected it. Yeah,
the rejectors and so on.
Yeah.
But that's just been happening in Hollywood forever, I think.
Yeah.
They're always just saying no. Radio stations, they all do the same old thing.
Yeah. No.
It could be any of the arts. No. Theater, same thing. We're not interested. No. And they talk themselves and miss opportunities. I don't know.
I think you have to be an elite club, like you have had to have connections in Hollywood
depends on who
or
you
family.
Know. Like you're saying, depends on who you know.
Sadly,
and stuff like that. Yeah.
Who can pull strings for you? Rather than do you have talent. If you have talent, that's not what they look at. They look at not only degrees, but they look at were your family in Hollywood? Do you have connections in Hollywood? Mm-hmm. Maybe we'll break something for you. Talk to this.
I know. Yeah.
Big cigars, we can do that. You're part of the family. Your great-grandmother was in Hollywood. Okay. You're not very talented, but you're in the in club.
Well, I've learned in life that perspective, Yeah. If you're going to be an actor, you just have to, I think you should go into it with the proper perspective. That stuff's not real. It's all make-believe.
I agree.
And have your priorities and your perspectives right, and I think you'll be a fine actor or singer or whatever. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
But Anyway, you got any final words? Because we are literally out of time.
Isn't this fascinating? Except for my apparent surreal jokes, I think I'll just talk to the washing machine. What did you think of this conversation? Wasn't it fascinating? Hi, washer. Hi, dryer. What's that? Oh, I know. Wasn't it very fascinating, the conversation? What's that? Oh, I know.
Well, it looks like you're talking on camera. It looks like you're talking to the washing
That's
machine.
what I'm trying to do. Yep. Isn't that fascinating?
Well, I tell you what. Before we sign off,
buttons.
I'm going to let you sit in the chair for the last minute we have.
Uh-huh.
And I'll sit here. I'll play with your ray gun here.
Mm-hmm.
And, so...
Yeah, the piano sounds fine.
No, it's not that. It's the keys are not working on the pedals. I have to let Scott know. The pedals are not working very well. Well, I guess I'll sign off sitting here.
All right.
And you can just play that. Anyway, this is Asaph Cafe. And Emmett and I are hanging out in the laundromat. I can't believe I'm doing my show in a laundromat. So affectionately on my right this time, we have our aging rocker Emmett playing the piano.
Yep.
And we're in the laundry room. Any final words?
Nope.
All right, well then let's just sign it because we got about 1 minute left.
Yes.
All right, well, thanks for being part of this cafe in the laundry room. Thanks, Emmett, for the idea.
Certainly.
Until our next show, Maranatha.
Yep, let's see. I'm just putting this show back on.
All right, well, you just play and I'll shut the thing down.
Still trying to learn this song I learned at Albertsons years ago in Lewiston. Yep, isn't that fascinating?